We have the info that y'all need on Multimin and LACTIPRO. Let's introduce y'all to Axiota. Crew, let's ranch it up. Good day, everyone, and thanks for riding with us on this all-new episode of the Ranch It Up Radio Show. I'm Jeff Tigger Earhart. A big thanks goes out to our partners, ranchchannel.com, Transova Genetics, Axiota, Multimin and LACTIPRO, Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the American Calving Association, Imogene Ingredients and Pharmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station.
Cattle Battle.
Let's just get right into this. Preparing cattle to thrive during transition and stress. It's all about maximizing success, or I should say, setting cattle up for success. And two products that many of you have heard of and are probably using on your operation, Multimin and LACTIPRO. What are they? How do they work? Should I use them, and how? We will answer all of those questions for y'all. Multimin and LACTIPRO are under the umbrella of Axiota. So to start the conversation of how to use said products, let's begin with how Axiota came to be. Tina Greiman, Vice President of Marketing for Axiota.
So Axiota Animal Health is an integrated company of two established companies and brands that had been in the business since 2010. So one of those companies and brands was Multimin USA and Multimin 90 product. And then the other company was MS Biotech with a product called LACTIPRO. So those two companies were integrated in actually early 2020, but the Axiota Animal Health name was applied in 2021. So Axiota Animal Health is the name of our company. We have two brands in our company, which is the Multimin 90 product, and then also the LACTIPRO product. And there's different types of LACTIPRO, and I'll talk about that when we get to that point. But it's an integrated company of two really successful organizations being integrated into one animal health company. But very few people know the company name. They know the brand names, but just not the company name.
Well, and that's pretty easy when you've got two powerful products like Multimin and LACTIPRO. Everybody's heard of them, but let's start here. Let's start with Multimin. For those people that don't know what Multimin is, what kind of a 30,000 foot view? What is the product? How do we use it?
Sure. Multimin 90 is an injectable trace mineral supplement that is designed to supplement 4 key essential trace minerals in cattle, both beef and dairy, and that's zinc, copper, manganese, and selenium. And the key thing with Multimin, it is absolutely not designed at all to replace oral trace mineral supplements. Those are mandatory and necessary part of the production process. What Multimin really is used for is when cattle need an extra level of trace mineral supplementation, whether it's around branding, preconditioning to help with immunity, whether it's in that third trimester when that cow is dumping a lot of trace minerals to the calf that's in her uterus, or when you're getting her ready to be rebred. Those are the key times on the beef side of the business that Multimin really fits, and kind of our 3 main use cases for Multimin. So it's used in addition to oral trace mineral supplementation when those cattle need an extra level to support physiological structure and function, to support immune response, and then also to support the enzymatic activity that is the enzymes require trace minerals to have that functional enzyme activity. And so that is, it's designed to use in that way.
But now let's dance with LACTIPRO, that product. And some people are going to say, what in the world is that? What is it? And then, how does it fit into programs, just like you explained with Multimin?
Sure. LACTIPRO is a really unique product that is known much more on the feed yard side of the business and almost unknown on the dairy side and the non-confined side of the business because it really fits in the feed yard space. But what LACTIPRO is, it is a rumen native bacteria by the name of Megasphaera elsdenii. And that is a bacteria that was discovered, way back in the 50s. And the purpose of that bacteria is it consumes lactic acid. So if you think of as cattle go on feed as you're moving cattle from grazing or high roughage to a more concentrated diet with, more corn, more starch in the diet, you've got to transition them carefully. You can't just dump them in front of a bunk full of corn, or they're going to get acidosis because the bacteria are not prepared in the rumen to handle it because they've been used to eating some kind of forage. So Megasphaera elsdenii, or Mega-E, that's a little easier to say, is what is in LACTIPRO. And it can be administered to animals to help them with that transition time to tighten that up and provide a very specific concentrated amount of Megasphaera into the rumen, so you don't have to wait for that rumen to adjust as long. And that's kind of in a nutshell how it works. So in a feed yard setting, when you bring cattle into the feed yard, your transition, depending on how big those cattle are, your step-up period might be 21 to 28 days. It could be up to 40 to 60 days if those cattle are a little bit lighter. But what LACTIPRO allows you to do is cut that transition time in half, which is a great efficiency saver for the feed yard. And there's ancillary benefits on performance and using it at later in the phase to help reduce late day deads. We have research around that. So that's really how it's used in the feedlot space. But if you think about how it could be used in certain areas of the non-confined space, a couple different ways. If you're going to background your calves for a period of time and you're going to put them on some kind of grain-based diet as you background them before you decide to sell them, that's a great time that LACTIPRO could be utilized during that backgrounding phase as they enter into that. Or a lot like I'm in the upper Midwest, they're kicking cows out onto corn stalks in the fall. And sometimes you have weather that knocks down corn, or you have varieties of corn that drop a lot of ears in the field, or some other problems so that there's a lot of extra grain in the field. And cows, especially the ones who are a little older, are super smart. The first thing they do is they go out there and they vacuum up all that grain that's in the field because that's what they want. And if they do that and they've been grazing, you kick them out on stalks and there's all that corn, that's a problem. And then you've got acidosis, you've got founder, you've got all sorts of issues. LACTIPRO can be used in those situations to help mitigate that risk of kicking the cows out. Now, if it's just stalks and there's not very little grain, that's a different thing. But sometimes there's situations where it was just a bad year and you got all that grain out there and then you've got to do something to manage it so that you don't have problems in the cows, and LACTIPRO is a management tool that could be applied there.
Tina, just hold on. It's time for a quick break. I want to bring you back on and talk a little bit more about Multimin and LACTIPRO. Crew, stay with us. The Ranch It Up radio show will be back after this. Have y'all tried LivestockMarket.com? We hear from Mark Vanzi each and every week. Well, LivestockMarket.com, it's the ultimate platform for buying and selling livestock. Now, whether you're in the market for cattle, sheep, goats, or more, try LivestockMarket.com. They connect you with buyers and sellers nationwide. Say goodbye to the traditional and hello to convenience and efficiency. Head to LivestockMarket.com and open up your options. And don't forget about EquineMarket.com and AuctionTime.com. Breeding season is here, and maybe you haven't made all of your decisions yet. Maybe you're fixing to AI some cows or some heifers. Turn to Allied Genetic Resources. Top quality semen from elite bulls. With over 50,000 head marketed annually, turn to Allied Genetic Resources. RanchChannel.com. I know many of you have used it to search for your next herd sires. RanchChannel.com. You used it. You loved it. If you haven't gone to it, you need to. Coming soon, market information. Yep. Feeder cattle, live cattle futures, corn, wheat, and beans, updated every 10 minutes. At your fingertips. Plus, the additions of products and services, management tips, that information that you've been wanting. And again, all at your fingertips. It's your Farm and Ranch Network on demand, ranchchannel.com. It's time now to start adding value to those Gelbvieh and Balancer calves. The American Gelbvieh Association offers a wide variety of DNA tests and delivers its members and customers tools for success within the beef industry. You owe it to yourself by going to gelbvieh.org. Welcome back to the Ranch It Up Radio Show, the most information packed into a 30-minute program that you can find, and it's your all things ranching newscast, and so glad to be hanging out with you all. Questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, rants, it doesn't matter. Give us a call or send us a text at 707-RANCH-20. That's 707-726-2420. Email is ranchitupshow@gmail.com, and prowling around social media at Ranch It Up Show. Now, part two, talking with Vice President of Marketing for Axiota, Tina Greiman. We're talking Multimin and LACTIPRO. So we're talking about increasing efficiency, really, is what we're talking. Bottom line.
Bottom line, totally. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, yeah, but, because that's what I got to do. And that is, I understand we're increasing the efficiency of animals out there. Totally understand that. However, there's the flip side to that may look at it and say, well, if we're doing something not necessarily to augment, but maybe to enhance said performance and ability of our bovine, what about the other side that says they need to do that naturally, right? For example, let's say that I'm on oxygen because of whatever situation, and eventually I need to wean myself off of oxygen, and I need to force my lungs to get stronger, right? So that helps with the healing process. Let's say that I've had pneumonia. This happened to me. Everybody knows that I was in that situation, and I had to do that. I had to start weaning myself off of that oxygen and forcing my lungs to get stronger. So let me just play the devil's advocate and use that analogy of saying, what about forcing our animals to naturally become stronger and more efficient?
Yeah, and that, Tigger, is a great question. And if Axiota Animal Health, we have a tagline, and our tagline is preparing cattle to thrive during transition and stress. Both of our brands, Multimin 90 and LACTIPRO, are non-antibiotic, and they're really prevention focused, because every producer knows out there, if they can prevent an animal from getting sick, it is better for them. It's better for the animal. They don't have to treat them. They don't have to run them through the chute. They don't have to pay for antibiotics. Cattle who get a lot of antibiotics typically perform less well in all parameters, and that's really well proven. Now, we do want to force our animals to be as efficient, productive, as thrifty as possible on their own. And if you never have a problem, then these products probably don't apply, because you have great management, you have great disease control, you've got everything really buttoned up. So you don't have a problem that you need to fix. But not everybody is in that boat.
I wish we were all in that boat, right, Tina?
I wish we were all in that boat. And you think about, okay, why do you vaccinate cattle? Does it prevent disease in every single animal? It does not. It reduces the likelihood of disease. Some still get sick. Some might get less sick because they've been vaccinated. But just like in humans with COVID, we realized that it doesn't prevent it. It just helps reduce the likelihood of problems. And that's really the way I look at both of our brands as well, is this is a natural option to help that animal, use its body systems in their most effective way possible to deal with the stresses that they have through any kind of transition, whether that can be a dietary transition, you're shipping them 14 hours across the country and you just pull them off of mama and life is tough, or you're trying to get those cows bred, you're preparing that cow for calving. It's a preparatory tool that producers can leverage to help augment their program. And obviously there's a cost. There's no such thing as a free lunch, and our products come with a cost. But where we are in the cattle cycle right now is every bred cow is highly valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Every calf that hits the ground is way more valuable than that calf was a year or two ago. And that's not going to change because our herd supply is so tight with all the cows that we had to cull due to the drought and just the herd rebuilding. Either there's lots of reasons that is not happening as quickly as it has in the past. This is a way to help get a little bit more out of the animals. And that's the way I look at it.
So proactive versus reactive.
Absolutely proactive. I mean, I hate being reactive because then you're like, well, dang, I should have done this before, because now we have to fix something. And I don't like fixing stuff. I like not having stuff to fix. The stewardship of our product, we want to make sure that our customers don't have problems. And so they have to use our product accordingly to label instructions. More is not better when it comes to trace mineral supplementation.
Tina Greiman, Vice President of Marketing for Axiota. We're going to talk more about Multimin and LACTIPRO coming up in the next episodes here on the Ranch It Up Radio Show. Important safety information for Multimin 90, not for use in humans. Keep out of reach of children. Multimin 90 has a pre-slaughter withdrawal time of 14 days after injection. Do not use during the first trimester of pregnancy or in pre-ruminant calves, as safety has not been established. Selenium and copper are toxic if administered in excess and may lead to sudden death, depression, weakness, ataxia, salivation, and drooling. Do not use concurrently with other selenium or copper injections or boluses. Maximum volume per injection site is 7 milliliters. Allow a minimum of 30 days before considering a repeat dosing. We have all of this information available in the show notes at ranchitupshow.com, and you can always head to axiota.com for more information. That's AXIOTA.com, axiota.com. We've reached that time where we need to take a quick break. So, coming up on the Ranch It Up Radio Show, we're talking markets, we're talking cattle for sale, we're talking some final words. So keep it tuned right here to this fine radio station, and the Ranch It Up Radio Show will be back right after this. Looking for the best way to raise healthy, productive beef? Try Westway Feed Products. Westway's liquid supplements boost forage utilization, efficiency, and sustainability, ensuring faster weight gain and better health. Visit westwayfeed.com or call 800-800-7517. Westway Feed Products, raising the bar in beef production. It doesn't matter about what we're talking about in cow herd management. We know that it all stems from nutrition, and I've been telling you all about Pharmatan for a number of years now. Pharmatan from Imogene Ingredients, it's the natural way to boost your cow herd's nutrition, to boost your calf's nutrition, get better breed back. And now that we're in breeding season, improve gut health, improve feed efficiency. Isn't it time to give Pharmatan a try? For more information, just head to pharmatanusa.com.
Cattle market reports to various news stories. The Tri-State Livestock News covers it all. Check us out at tsln.com. Subscriptions or advertising, call Tracy Hawk at 406-951-3211. The Tri-State Livestock News, what ranchers read.
A lot of you have been using ranchchannel.com to select your new herd sires. Well, coming soon, feeder and live cattle markets, corn, wheat, and bean futures, all at ranchchannel.com. And don't forget, lots of upcoming sales. Just head to ranchchannel.com. Want to add just a little bit of spice to your event, your customer appreciation supper, your banquet, your meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Well, bring in us. Beck and I as your keynote speakers, hosts, MCs, a host couple. We'll make them laugh, even cry tears of joy. Call us today. Welcome back, everyone, to the Ranch It Up Radio Show. It's that time we check in with Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated, recapping these markets. Kirk, what's going on? How are you?
I'm wonderful, Tigger, and good morning to you and all your listeners out there. As of Friday, June 21st, August feeder futures closed the week at 258.02.5. That's down 372.5 on the week, with the CME feeder index up at $1.34 at 257.47. So with futures lower and cash higher, that narrowed the basis to a negative 90.5 cents versus August futures. We did have a cattle on feed this week, with on feed coming in at 99.9% versus expectations of 99.1. A slightly bearish place number at 104.3 versus expectations of 98.7, and a marketed number at 100.2% versus 100.2 expected. August live cattle closed the week at 183.27.5. That's up 20 cents on the week, with cash trading 189 to 191 in the south and 198 to 199 in the north, so almost $2 in the north. That left the 5-area weighted average up 346 at 195.11. The basis versus June futures is a very large positive 751, so futures are definitely not playing along with the high cash trade. Weekly slaughter came in at 620,000 head. That's 5,000 head more than last week, but 29,000 head less than the same week last year. Choice boxes, and also another bullish aspect of the market, closed the week at 322.39. That's up another 250 on the week. Spot packer margin, when you add all that together, comes in at over $100 a head. So even with the high cash prices, boxes are making up the difference, leaving the packer with money. That is a pretty bullish indicator. To wrap this up, December corn closed the week at 453.25. That's down 15.5 on the week. The chart has a very bearish look to it, with the funds adding short positions as we go. Friday, June 28th, there will be the big USDA acreage report, so all the corn participants are keeping an eye on that.
Hey all, Mark Van Zee with LivestockMarket.com. Coming up this Wednesday, July 3rd, we have an all-class cattle online auction. Bidding opens at just $100 a head, no reserves, all lots will sell. Featured lots include 37 Angus and Red Angus cows. They're fall calvers out of Farrow Cattle Company Genetics. They weigh 1,150 pounds, mostly 3 to 5-year-olds. Few 7 and 8-year-olds. They're confirmed bred. They'll calve September through November from Brown Ranch in Nakona, Texas. 10 Angus, Hereford, and Charolais cows, 1,125 pounds. 7 blacks, 2 Chars, 1 Hereford. They're all 4 to 5-year-olds. 3 to 6 months bred to a Black Angus bull from Williams Farms in Sparta, Tennessee. 4 American Aberdeen pairs. They're 3-1s, exposed to an Aberdeen bull for the last 2 months. They're really docile, great maternal instinct, and they're ranging from 5 to 8 years old from South Texas Aberdeens in Harlingen, Texas. They also have an Aberdeen cow. She's 5.5 years old, been exposed to that same bull for 2 months. And they're also selling 1 Aberdeen bred heifer. She's a good-looking 2.5-year-old. She's also been exposed to the bull for 2 months. They just don't have room to run her. That's all from South Texas Aberdeens in Harlingen, Texas. Featured hay lots include 11 large round grass bales. It's 5x6 poly twine, 1,600 pounds, just baled on June 8th of this year from Cotez Farms in Ottawa, Illinois. Bidding is currently live, but all lots will sell the morning of Wednesday, July 3rd at 10 a.m. Central Time. Got cattle to sell? Regular online cattle auctions first and third Wednesday of every month, with hay sales every Wednesday on LivestockMarket.com and AuctionTime.com.
Imagine a beef industry where commercial cattlemen and women have the power to negotiate prices and the ability to collaborate without losing their independence and ability to make their own management decisions. Truthfully, some cattlemen and women already live in this world. Hey, I'm Shay, and I'm the host of the Casual Cattle Conversations podcast. I sat down with Nick Jorgensen and Ian Wheel to talk about how commercial cattlemen can leverage their positions in the beef supply chain and create negotiating power on my podcast. Here's a little bit of what we talked about.
You know, we're not talking these supply chains. We're not talking about vertically integrating the beef industry. I mean, you could go into a whole hour-long podcast around the benefits of that, potentially the downsides, the difficulties, all that kind of thing. What this is vertical collaboration. And the problem that the commercial cattleman has now, in my opinion, is this thing it's not vertically integrated, which is fine. But because of that, it's so disjointed that information gets lost every time, right? Those cattle go to the sale barn. All the information you generated up until the point when they went there is now lost, okay? And then when they go to the backgrounder and they go into the feed yard, that information falls through the cracks and falls through the cracks. And you can never take that data and use it to make full circle decisions. Well, you leverage a tool like Breeder where all of that stays with that one animal, where it goes, all the way to carcass data. Everyone who is invested in that system can leverage that data to whatever degree the individual parties want to share it.
Listen to the full story by searching for Casual Cattle Conversations on your favorite podcast player. Happy ranching, folks.
I tip my hat to you, from one legend to another.
Now, before we say fare thee well, we want to give a big tip of the hat to all of you out there. You know what? We're moving into the 4th of July holiday weekend, into the 4th of July next week. Take a little time off and enjoy. And now that's going to wrap it up for today. A big thanks from our crew to yours, starting off with Tina Greiman with Axiota, Shay Warner with Casual Cattle Conversations, Kirk Donsbach with StoneX Financial Incorporated, and Mark Vanzi with LivestockMarket.com. A big thank you goes out to our partners, RanchChannel.com, Transova Genetics, Axiota, Multimin, and LACTIPRO, Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the American Gelbvieh Association, Imogene Ingredients and Pharmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station. And crew, so glad y'all came with us one more time as we ranch it up. Be sure to follow and like us on Facebook at Ranch It Up Show. Our email is ranchitupshow@gmail.com. You can call and you can text 24/7 at 707-RANCH-20. That's 707-726-2420. Spread the good word and join us again next week where it's always Tigger and Beck approved. Stay ranchy and ranch it up.